there's new Mean Girls that's come out and people are all talking shit about how like there's so much elf product placement, which I mean, like, how do you think movies are made? Money.
Welcome back to Biracial and Bitchy, a show about holding multiple identities and reconciling them into one strong sense of self. And now your host, 𝗕𝗶𝗿𝗰𝗃.
Welcome back to Biracial and Bitchy, a show about me, 𝗕𝗶𝗿𝗰𝗃, and you already listened to the intro. Oh, do you like the set? Is it beautiful? I did it all for you. If you haven't seen that yet, guess what? We post some podcasts on YouTube. It's great. I'm wearing a bindi right now. I feel a little weird about it, but you know what? I see other girls doing it, and I feel like if I believe in myself, I can pull it off too. Without any further ado, first of all, we are doing a giveaway on Apple Podcasts. If you leave a 5-star review, only 5 stars, because don't you forget, karma's a bitch, and so am I. I've actually cast a little spell on anyone who leaves anything less than 5 stars. So if you want to, not believe in it, go ahead, try me. But for everyone else who wants to enter the giveaway, rate this podcast a 5-star review, send me a DM with a screenshot, and then comment your favorite part of today's podcast on my Instagram. Okay, we are going to be talking about a little bit of dog drama. The reason that season 2 has come out so late, we've had a very traumatic start to the year with Sprout almost not making it through. He's doing okay now. Everyone's positive thoughts would be super appreciated, or even just good vibes, or 5-star reviews. I'm just kidding. Oh my God. I've been crying a lot. I feel like I'm on the edge of, after losing so much and so many people in my life, having my precious baby dog almost on that list was terrifying. I will also be talking a little bit about Lexapro and telling you about my Lexapro bestie that I ran into. People ask some questions about weight gain. How does it feel? Advice. I'll tell you a little bit about the biggest difference that I felt right away was in me driving, and I cannot wait to tell you more about that. But most importantly, after we catch up a little bit, I want to have a discussion about how I'm feeling about coming back to social media. I am really passionate about marginalized voices in media and new media. While there are so many great things I love about social media, there are a lot of things that make me absolutely my butthole cringe. There are just certain platforms and things that I feel like the average person who doesn't do this as a job should absolutely know in order to not form an addiction with social media, be bamboozled by influencers who are not really offering content but making you buy a lot of shit, and maybe talk a little bit about how I regard ads and my moral stance on it. And I think it's going to be a really interesting discussion. So hold on to your pants. Let's get into Sprout. Sprout has truly absorbed most of our nurturing, our baby fever, our kisses and cuddles. And as one of the grand animals in the family, we brought him to Christmas because, as you know, if you've been keeping up with the Nisha, my mom has MSA. It's not very happy news. And we just are trying to prioritize being together because, like, life is short. Sprout just got so spoiled, and I have to regret to inform you that Sprout is actually 7 years old, maybe older. I know. How did the delicious little chicken-legged puppy become 7 years old? I have no clue. I have not a clue. I still feel like I've only been doing YouTube for 3 years, and that's just not true. I have wrinkles under my eyes proving that it's not true. After all these treats at the grandparents' house, we come home, and Sprout is just acting a bit lethargic, and immediately I think pancreatitis. See, I'm a radiologist's daughter, okay? I'm also half Indian. So basically, I think I have a medical degree. I am on the phone with the vet. I am harassing them. I'm saying he's not looking great. He's definitely not in the place to go to the emergency vet, but let's get him in. Let's take his temperature, run some tests. I think it's pancreatitis because he keeps bowing. His little behind is up and he's like a little Nike symbol. They were like, yeah. We'll take some x-rays, do some blood work. And I'm almost like, think. I don't know. As my professional radiologist daughter's opinion, can we see pancreatitis? on an x-ray. And they assure me they can. They didn't find anything. We take him home. Sprout continues just to get worse and worse and worse until one day we're giving him supportive care, everything that the vet suggested that was not aligned with pancreatitis, but just aligned with like a little fever. One day I just look in his eyes and we have a soul connection. My soul comes out of my eyeballs. His meets mine in the middle, like the wands in the final scene of Harry Potter with Voldemort and Harry. Our magic combines and immediately I know. I'm looking into his soul and I'm like, he's got to go to the emergency vet. I don't care. And I'm calling the vet and she's trying to get me in. Sprout does not show when he's feeling sick. He's pretty even keeled. But I just felt in the depths of my lady mothering, nurturing soul. We bring him to the emergency vet and I'm like, I think he's gonna die. And we are flooring it. Jesse is no. We bring him into the emergency vet. The lady looks at me and says, it's gonna take 2 to 4 hours. It's time for my swallowing exercises. We go sit down, we filled out the paperwork. The lady takes 2 seconds, looks over at us, sees Sprout, gets up and runs into the back. And I can hear her say, I need a status check on a chihuahua in the lobby. And I immediately have never felt so scared in my entire life. They bring Sprout in. It is revealed he has a 105-degree fever and, in fact, pancreatitis. We go home. We're thinking they have it handled. They assure us his fever is already going down. We're going home. I make a banging cassoulet with a red wine reduction, a little cannellini bean. It's delish. We're settling into bed. And you know if you get a freaking call in the middle of the night from an emergency vet, something is wrong. And the vet reveals to me that Sprout, when they have tried to administer fluids, ended up flatlining. And Jesse and I, it had never been the same since. Getting our shiz together to get this re-rolling, we couldn't care less. He's still alive. He came to, but he was doing very poorly. We had to hospitalize him overnight. Like, goodbye, all of our money. Thankfully, we have pet insurance. Please get pet insurance as soon as you get a dog. It's so worth the $30 a month if you can hack it. Jesse and I are not religious people, but we literally prayed. Neither of us, both of us were looking at each other, sitting in our bedroom in the dark, just being like, how do we pray? We put our heads together, and you know what? We figured something out, and we talked to someone. We hear in the morning he's stabilized overnight. We've been able to take him home. We did take him back to get remonitored just to check in, make sure he eats and starts functioning again normally. But yeah, we could use a lot of prayers and positive attitudes. And I know we started this out on kind of a bummer, but I wanted to fill you in on Sprout, because I know a lot of y'all, in all seriousness, he brings a lot of y'all joy, and I need to let you know he is getting up there. He's on the mend, but we're still just not completely out of the woods yet. All right, that's enough of that. I need to take 1 second. Let me take 5. I'm having the technical difficulties of the century. Some godforsaken planet must be in retrograde. All the sad shiz to say something very important that I think applies even to any doctor, especially like ADHD doctors or vets. You are the one who is the professional in your pet. The vet, the doctor, the ADHD professional is just the professional that you're hiring as an expert in that field and employing to help your pet, yourself, your ADHD. Don't be afraid to be the advocate. Don't be afraid to call them up with a couple new symptoms. I was up their butts and I swear it saved my dog's life. You're not being paranoid. I think this is a thing most pet parents feel at some point, is like, am I just like taking my chihuahua in for the shakes, or like, does he have pancreatitis and need to be seen? Get in touch with that little teet inside of you. Speaking of sad shiz, let's talk about Lexapro. Oh my gosh, a lot of you saddy baddies have had a professional suggest Lexapro to you and been afraid of its effects. Well, you're looking at someone who thrives on it. So let's talk about Lexapro Bestie. Speaking of Lexapro Bestie, I went to my GP appointment and the nurse taking down my information asked me the milligram dosage I was on Lexapro and then was like, You're on less than me. Go, girl. You have it together. Made me feel so seen. She ended up telling me she was on 5 milligrams more. And I just I felt when you share milligram percentages, should I share mine? Probably not. When you share milligram percentages with someone, that is so intimate, especially of mental health medication. But I have to say, one thing that this Lexapro bestie nurse told me, I'm going to give her full credit. She said the phrase she had coined was, the Lexapro be hittin', the Lexapro be Lexaproing. Lexapro has completely changed my life. I was talking to one of my besties. She's on Prozac, and she also has PMDD. And she asked her fiance, oh my gosh, do you remember when I was just raw dogging PMDD without the Prozac? You feel things so deeply. Lexapro doesn't make me feel numb in any way. I think because for a very long time, I thought that my emotions having ups and downs were super normal. And then I started looking at mental health stuff as how disruptive it is to your life because, being just a heavily emotional person doesn't really disrupt your life. Whereas having PMDD, you're just bursting out into tears. You're much more sensitive to a point where it's hard to function and even go out and hang out with people. Lexapro helps that so much. The first thing people ask me is about the weight gain. So trigger warning, we're going to be talking about weight. Lexapro is not, some people are on it long term. My plan is not to be on it long term, but because I have so many life events going on right now and I'm relaunching a business, the ups and downs and the depression on top of everything started becoming more and more challenging. It's like you can have ADHD, but still feel normalized and functional. But then all of a sudden, you get a new job, you switch careers, you want to grow in your business. People with ADHD this started to turn into an ADHD rant, whatever. I'm really into ADHD right now. People with ADHD are 300% more likely to be entrepreneurs. So I don't know why this podcast isn't the comedy, but y'all are ranking me. I'm not in charge of this. In order to grow my business, reaching normalization in order to keep up with peers. So normalization is not really being normal, but keeping up with peers. I'm going to link some podcasts underneath for y'all. I feel that Lexapro is the same way. I feel like I didn't need it before, but now, because of life circumstances, because of what my job is, because of where I am at in my career, it's super supplemental and it helps me reach a feeling of similarity and almost normalization to my peers, while I always know I will have ADHD. So I don't feel 100% cured, but I do feel a little more caught up to my peers, if that makes sense. So basically what I'm saying is I didn't think I needed it until I really started looking at it through the lens of, am I struggling to keep up with people my same age, people who are my peers? And the answer was yes. Is this so long-winded? Oh my hell. Good night. What does this have to do with weight gain? Unless the amount of weight you're gaining is unhealthy, your doctor brings it up and it's a concern, you're going to have that all monitored while you're on Lexapro if you have a good psychiatrist. Again, remember, psychiatrists or any healthcare professional, you are the expert in you, they are the expert in ADHD or whatever, Lexapro. I have gained weight, but I was also so anxious and so active and so, when I started taking it, I got healthier. My period was more normal. I have so much more energy now. I am so much more functional. I have to tell you, I was so scared of the weight gain because my anxiety was so bananas right before my wedding because it's so stressful. There's so much pressure. And it was worth every pound I earned, every pound. And I don't care. And maybe that's the Lexapro in me, but it is when you get a good dosage and it's not too much or too little, you just feel really empowered. And this is not saying there was no mental shift or I didn't, you have to pull yourself out. But it makes it so much easier. It makes you just so much more even keeled. So one of the things that stood out the most to me was when I drive on the highway, especially going to Santa Monica. Like if you live in California, you know, driving from the Valley to Santa Monica, or like anywhere from Santa Monica, that exit, that's like the 4th Street, I get heart palpitations. And when I drove to Santa Monica, I didn't feel it at all. It felt like I was really in control. And that is the only thing I can really say is I just like, I feel in control, baby. I'm luteal right now. Did I answer your questions? Let me know. Before I talk about how I'm really feeling about social media, I just want to let you know, maybe break the fourth wall a little bit. I see this podcast as a very easy way for us to just chat and get to know each other. So please, I know there's not really much infrastructure to engage on the listening platforms, but like YouTube, my DMs are open. I'm here to entertain you. So I want it all out in the open. Let's talk a bit about how I feel about coming back to social media after a little break skis. I always feel a little weird after taking a break to come back on social media. I'm not someone who loves being perceived. If I could get paid to post my little videos and little thoughts and write my little journalistic entries and thoughts and encouragements to the world, but no one would see it, I would. I went to art school, y'all. This is how I feel about social media as someone who's an artist or considers themselves an artist. This is kind of how I'm starting to feel about social media as someone who wanted to make films, made a talk show, and then became an influencer so I could make enough money to make this talk show that you're seeing now. How I feel about social media right now is that a lot of y'all are watching QVC when you could be watching really amazing indie films. There are some creators on this app who are doing incredible things. There are creators on every single app doing incredible things. And this is just my opinion, okay? I don't want there to be a witch hunt because social media, first and foremost, is an economy that boosts women up. Most creators are women. And that is something I don't think should go away. The creator industry is supposed to like triple in the next couple years, is supposed to triple its worth in the next few years, and I think that's so great. But this need to keep up with the Joneses, to buy every single ad, to be the it girl, every godforsaken time someone comes out with a new label of what girl we're going to worship next online, it's giving like old school 90s Hollywood vibes. It's just bananas. We're gonna look back on this time in years and be like, who were we saying were the best people to follow? These people are like QVC. Some creators are just there to be aspirational, and that's fine. But if you're letting it as a consumer trick you into buying every single product placement thing. There's new Mean Girls that's come out and people are all talking shit about how like there's so much elf product placement, which I mean like, how do you think movies are made? Money. Sometimes an ad is just an ad, babe. You want to be entertained. Entertainment is so important for the mental health of society at large. And then we get mad when a creator, when a movie gets their bag. An ad is just an ad. An ad is just a patron. And you, as a consumer, are also a patron. You should be so happy that Elf is paying for this movie or whatever. I am starting to see something that made me so excited about the possibilities of social media when I was a freshly faced college kid, firstly graduating, clutching my arts degree at 22 years old. I thought YouTube, Instagram, all these new social medias were such a great avenue to take charge, remove the gatekeepers, and get your art, shiz, writing, videos, personality, face out there. From the inside, as someone who has helped other people build brands, studies algorithms, looks at all kinds of the ethics and concern, I don't know, as I get older, I get so existential and I feel so responsible as someone who makes money on this platform and gets to create stuff to entertain you, to make you think, to make you grow, to make you laugh. If something starts feeling like I'm only watching QVC, I'm either gonna have to give this creator some grace because maybe I know they're going through a hard time, or you can unfollow them. It costs money to be alive. It costs money to make the stuff that you all consume. And sometimes ads have to happen. Most creators that I talk to and I meet and I network with have other supplemental forms of income, but get the hate. These ads just finance other videos. And if you feel like the balance of ads to value is off, you shouldn't follow that person. It will be the most unfulfilling follow ever. You will begin to resent them. It's okay to unfollow a creator when they no longer make you feel good, or they make you feel like buying everything they use, or they make you feel bad. I'm gonna say this with my whole chest. I feel like social media is a place for adults who are aware of its implications on your brain, who are aware of how addictive it can be. I talk to my friends who work with children, and the absolute chokehold that phones have on all of our attention spans worries me at a young age, when we don't fully have a functioning, developed prefrontal cortex where we can make those decisions of like limiting and time organization as snappy as a full-grown adult. Some weeks you're gonna get a giggly goobly goo, and some weeks you're gonna get Mama Nisha. One of the reasons I don't feel like I'm as comfortable with younger children on the internet, using the internet, is because it's such an industry. It is like a complete free range, even with like child locks or everything. Just child-friendly content doesn't mean it's good for them. To allow the world, or anyone in the world with access to the internet, access to kids, I was like my kids, no, I only have a dog, worries me. Because I think we all have to ask ourselves very adult things when we engage with the internet. Am I truly getting value from this? As I get older, I am so acutely aware of how short life is. Because of so many ethical implications of the addictiveness of the algorithms on these apps to supply you non-stop spikes of dopamine makes it such a dangerous thing. So if you're not getting value from this extremely stimulating source, it can be a very slippery slope. That being said, I also think that the internet hosts such a rich variety of information and value and entertainment that truly the wonders of the world are on there. And as we get older, life gets more complex, and there are things that can really serve you through different phases of life, whether it's you need advice as a new mother, or like you don't have a fireplace and it's Christmas time and you're gonna put the Yule log on YouTube. Anything you really want, you can get access to. This publicization of information is amazing, and how available creativity and artistry can be shared. But as with all things with entertainment, it's very lucrative. I'm not gonna lie, when my dog almost didn't make it in the emergency vet from pancreatitis, I was scrolling on TikTok like it was my job. The value of entertainment and turning off your brain for a little bit, especially when you're going through a series of traumatic events or stress, can sometimes offer relief and help me regulate and make space for me to just get through a situation until I'm at home and can cry. But I don't want to spend a majority of my life scrolling mindlessly just because these apps have developed these, in my opinion, unethical algorithms that make it so deliciously addicting to stay on it. I encourage people to delete their apps when they're struggling with their consumption and engage more meaningfully. It's one of the reasons that I've kind of shifted how I make content and where I make my most value content. I just want you checking in and hanging out with me on Instagram, and maybe occasionally supporting an ad that helps fund me make more entertaining and thoughtful and useful shiz for you. But I don't want to get you stuck on there and scrolling forever just because you feel like I'm posting all the time and you have to keep me afloat. Diversifying my platforms into more community conscious based platforms that have algorithms that I think are like a little more ethical, and making content that's of value, I am realizing is all I want to do. And I had quite a few years on the internet where I was doing that and only that for free, and I have to say, I still would. This is just like the best thing, and I know as a creator, and if I engage with other creators, I'm gonna tell you this. I feel like your little scrolly platforms are your marketing, your calling card, your place to throw a little ad, to spice up the feed a little bit. But if you are posting like every single day, oh my gosh, I encourage you to diversify. I think if you have like the substance and the willpower and the organization, I am so impressed and I am in awe of your capabilities. And I think you would shine on a bigger platform. And I just say this as a person who like went to art school and saw so many other creative little like nuggets. I mean, people, sometimes creativity just needs a little push in a more dangerous. Oh my gosh. I just believe that sometimes creativity needs a little push in a more dangerous direction. I'm feeling really empowered about how I'm coming back, a little nervous because these are platforms that I'm just doing for a passion and not for $1. But these platforms I feel really good about. And I'm just really honored to engage with you. I hope you love this episode. Thank you for listening to my ramblings as I'm getting better at talking on camera. That is like the most important thing right now. Like we're building out the set, we're getting this all going. I know it's not perfect yet, but when you no longer have to be perfect, you can be good. And I am so excited to just be good with you right now. Have a great rest of your day. And don't forget to rate us 5 stars or else I'll put a curse on you. Bye!
Thank you for listening to Biracial and Bitchy. Be sure to rate us 5 stars because remember, karma is a relaxing thought. And do a bitch a favor, share this episode with a friend. Bye!